Welcome and good morning to online class 8. I'm your teacher, Miss Sana Maria. Today is 9th December and the day is Wednesday. Today we are going to start the fiction from Around the World and in 80 Days by Jules Verne. In the following extracts from the novel Around the World to 80 Days, Phileas Fogg has just returned home early from the Reform Club to his house at number 7 Silver Rocks in London. He has taken on the bet for 20,000 euro with his fellow club members to travel around the world in 80 days. Pespatis, his French servant, is shocked to see his master's home so early, and it is his first day in his new position of employment, and he was looking forwards to the restful life of folk is known for the regular habits. Pespatus is even more shocked when he hears that they are due to travel to the English port of Dover to cross the English channels by boat to Crest in France that very evening. Okay, in this stage, this fiction is about the टू पर्सनस. ठीक है, ये हमारे पास एक जो है फिलियास फॉग होता है और सेकंड उसका सर्वेंट होता है पेट्स पटीस होता है उसका नाम. ठीक है, ये बेसिकली फ्रेंच नेम है इसलिए इस तरह के हैं. और ये जो होता है कि ये जो फिलियास फॉग होता है ये एक बहुत ज़्यादा रिच फैमिली से बिलोंग करता है, बहुत ज़्यादा रिच पर्सन होता है. तो ये एक रिफॉर्मर क्लब होता है, वहाँ पे भी जाता है, रोज़ वहाँ पे जाता है, देर से आता है, सुबह में भी जाता है, शाम में भी जाता है. तो एक दिन उसके फ्रेंड्स के साथ उसकी पेट लग जाती है कि मैं 80 डेज के अंदर पूरा वर्ल्ड जो है वो ट्रैवल करके आऊँगा. तो वो कहते हैं कि अगर जीत गए तो फिर हम तुम्हें जो है वो 20,000 यूरोज देंगे, और अगर वो कहते हैं अगर हार गए तो फिर तुम हमें दोगे. ठीक है, आपस में उनकी पेट्स लगती है और ये हमारे पास 80s की बात है ये. ठीक है, बहुत पुरानी बात है. उस टाइम पे 20,000 यूरोज जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा जो है मीनिंगफुल थे. ठीक है, सो अभी मैं आपको इससे रिलेटेड एक वीडियो दिखाती हूँ जिससे आपको पूरा पता चलेगा कि ये अपने सर्वेंट के साथ किस तरह जो है वो सारा मूव करता है, ट्रैवल किस तरह करता है, क्या क्या उनके साथ रास्ते में डिफ़िकल्टीज होती है, किस तरह वो, क्योंकि उस दौर में प्लेन्स वगैरह नहीं होते थे, ये लोग ट्रेन्स पे एक जगह से दूसरी जगह मूव कर रहे थे. सो I share the screen with you.
Around the World in 80 Days. Around the World in 80 Days is a classic adventure novel by the French writer Jules Verne, published in 1873. In the story, Phileas Fogg of London, and his newly employed French valet, Passepartout, attempt to circumnavigate the world in 80 days on a £20,000 wager, £1.6 million today, set by his friends at the Reform Club. It is one of Verne's most acclaimed works. The story starts in London on Tuesday, October 1st, 1872. Phileas Fogg is a rich.
अब ये जो हमारे पास स्टोरी है ये हमारे पास 1872 की स्टोरी है. 1872 के अंदर 20,000 यूरोज जो थे वो बहुत ज़्यादा ये जो थे पैसे माने जाते थे, बहुत ज़्यादा जो है ये हैवी अमाउंट था.
British gentleman living in solitude. Despite his wealth, Fogg lives a modest life with habits carried out with mathematical precision. Very little can be said about his social life, other than that he is a member of the Reform Club. At the Reform Club, Fogg gets involved in an argument over an article in the Daily Telegraph, stating that with the opening of a new railway section in India, it is now possible to travel around the world in 80 days. He accepts a wager for £20,000 from his fellow club members, which he will receive if he makes it around the world in 80 days. Accompanied by Passepartout, he leaves London by train at 8:45 p.m. on Wednesday, October 2nd, 1872, and is due back at the Reform Club at the same time 80 days later, Saturday, December 21st, 1872. The itinerary, as originally planned, starts from London in United Kingdom, to Suez in Egypt, by rail to Brindisi and steamer the Mongolia, across the Mediterranean Sea. It takes 7 days. From Suez to Bombay in India by steamer the Mongolia, across the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. It takes 13 days. From Bombay to Calcutta, by rail in 3 days. From Calcutta to Victoria in Hong Kong, by steamer the Rangoon, across the South China Sea in 13 days. From Hong Kong to Yokohama in Japan, by steamer the Carnatic, across the South China Sea, East China Sea, and the Pacific Ocean, in 6 days. From Yokohama to San Francisco in United States, by steamer the General Grant, across the Pacific Ocean. It takes 22 days. From San Francisco to New York City, by rail, in 7 days. Finally, from New York to London, by steamer the China, across the Atlantic Ocean, to Liverpool, and rail. This will take 8 days. The total days for the journey is 79, as planned. Fogg and Passepartout reach Suez in time. While disembarking in Egypt, they are watched by a Scotland Yard detective named Fix, who has been dispatched from London in search of a bank robber. Because Fogg matches the vague description of the robber, Fix mistakes Fogg for the criminal. Since he cannot secure a warrant in time, Fix boards the steamer the Mongolia, conveying the travelers to Bombay. Fix becomes acquainted with Passepartout without revealing his purpose. Fogg promises the steamer engineer a large reward if he gets them to Bombay early. They dock 2 days ahead of schedule. After reaching India, they take a train from Bombay to Calcutta. Fogg learns that the Daily Telegraph article was wrong. The railroad ends at Colby and starts again 50 miles further on at Allahabad. Fogg buys an elephant, hires a guide, and starts toward Allahabad. They come across a procession in which a young Indian woman, Auda, is led to a sanctuary to be sacrificed by Sati the next day by Brahmins. Since the young woman is drugged with opium and hemp and is obviously not going voluntarily, the travelers decide to rescue her. They follow the procession to the site where Passepartout takes the place of Auda's deceased husband on the funeral pyre on which she is to be burned. During the ceremony, he rises from the pyre, scaring off the priests, and carries the young woman away. The 12 hours gained earlier are lost, but Fogg shows no regret. The travelers hasten to catch the train at the next railway station, taking Auda with them. At Calcutta, they board a steamer, the Rangoon, going to Hong Kong. Fix has Fogg and Passepartout arrested. They jump bail, and Fix follows them to Hong Kong. He shows himself to Passepartout, who is delighted to again meet his traveling companion from the earlier voyage. In Hong Kong, it turns out that Auda's distant relative, in whose care they had been planning to leave her, has moved to Holland, so they decide to take her with them to Europe. Still without a warrant, Fix sees Hong Kong as his last chance to arrest Fogg on British soil. Passepartout becomes convinced that Fix is a spy from the Reform Club. Fix confides in Passepartout, who does not believe a word, and remains convinced that his master is not a bank robber. To prevent Passepartout from informing his master about the premature departure of their next vessel, the Carnatic, Fix gets Passepartout drunk and drugs him in an opium den. Passepartout still manages to catch the steamer to Yokohama, but neglects to inform Fogg that the steamer is leaving the evening before its scheduled departure date. Fogg discovers that he missed his connection. He searches for a vessel that will take him to Yokohama, finding a pilot boat, the Tankadea, that takes him and Auda to Shanghai, where they catch a steamer to Yokohama. In Yokohama, they search for Passepartout, believing that he may have arrived there on the Carnatic as originally planned. They find him in a circus, trying to earn the fare for his homeward journey. Reunited, the four board a paddle steamer, the General Grant, taking them across the Pacific to San Francisco. They board a transcontinental train to New York, encountering a number of obstacles along the way, a massive herd of bison crossing the tracks, a failing suspension bridge, being attacked by Sioux warriors. After uncoupling the locomotive from the carriages, Passepartout is kidnapped by the Indians, but Fogg rescues him after American soldiers volunteer to help. They continue by a wind-powered sledge to Omaha, where they get a train to New York. In New York, having missed the sailing of their ship, the China, Fogg starts looking for an alternative to cross the Atlantic Ocean. He finds a steamboat, the Henrietta, destined for Bordeaux in France. The captain of the boat refuses to take the company to Liverpool, whereupon Fogg consents to be taken to Bordeaux for $2,000, roughly $39,802 today, per passenger. He then bribes the crew to mutiny and make course for Liverpool. Against hurricane winds and going on full steam, the boat runs out of fuel after a few days. Fogg buys the boat from the captain and has the crew burn all the wooden parts to keep up the steam. The companions arrive at Queenstown, Cobb, in Ireland, take the train to Dublin, and then a ferry to Liverpool, still in time to reach London before the deadline. Once on English soil, Fix produces a warrant and arrests Fogg. A short time later, the misunderstanding is cleared up. The actual robber, James Strand, was caught 3 days earlier in Edinburgh. However, Fogg has missed the train and arrives in London 5 minutes late, certain he lost the wager. Fogg apologizes to Aouda for bringing her with him, since he now has to live in poverty and cannot support her. Aouda confesses that she loves him and asks him to marry her. He calls for Passepartout to notify the minister. The following day, at the minister's, Passepartout learns that he is mistaken in the date, which he takes to be Sunday, December 22nd, but which is actually Saturday, December 21st, because the party travelled eastward, gaining a day. The wager can still be won, but there is very little time left. Passepartout hurries to inform Fogg, who reaches the Reform Club just in time to win the wager. Fogg marries Aouda, and the journey around the world is complete within 80 days. Do you know why is he mistaken in the date? The Earth rotates eastward and completes 1 day in 1 round. When you travel to east, you should increase the time in your watch. Fogg didn't remember this. His journey was eastward, gaining a whole 1 day. This means he arrived 1 day before the expected date. So finally, he reached the club just in time to win the wager.
So, okay, tell me, students. Okay, tell me, students. Are you understand the fiction? कुछ अंडरस्टैंडिंग हुई फिक्शन समझ में आया? Okay, this is a fiction about the Phileas Fogg and Patty Space. Patty Space जो होता है उसका सर्वेंट होता है. इसके अंदर बेसिकली बताया गया कि उन्होंने 80 डेज के अंदर अपना जो पूरा ट्रैवल जो होता है, पूरा वर्ल्ड ट्रैवल जो होता है अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, वो कंप्लीट करना होता है. तो इसके अंदर बताया गया कि किस तरह जो है वो अपना ट्रैवल करते हैं. ठीक है, तो स्विस से जो बॉम्बे वो लोग जाते हैं बाय स्टीम बोट. वो 13 डेज में वो लोग अपना ट्रैवल करते हैं बाय स्टीम बोट. ठीक है, फ्रॉम बॉम्बे टू कोलकाता बाय रेल वो लोग जाते हैं, जो उनको 3 डेज लगते हैं. ठीक है, फ्रॉम कोलकाता टू हांगकांग वो उनको बाय स्टीम बोट दे कैरी 13 डेज. ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद वो लोग हांगकांग टू योकोहामा जाते हैं, जो जापान में होता है बाय स्टीम बोट दे कैरी 6 डेज. फिर उसके बाद फ्रॉम योकोहामा टू सैन फ्रांसिस्को बाय स्टीम बोट 22 डेज लगते हैं. इनको कितने हर जगह एक प्लेस से डिफरेंट प्लेस जाने में तकरीबन ज़्यादा डेज लगते हैं. 1 डे से ऊपर डे लगते हैं. कहीं पे 7 डेज लगे, कहीं 3 डेज लगे, कहीं 13 डेज लगे. फिर योकोहामा से सैन फ्रांसिस्को जाने में इनको 22 डेज लगते हैं. ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद न्यूयॉर्क टू लंदन बाय स्टीम बोट एंड रेल. स्टीम बोट और रेल दोनों तरीक़ों से ये लोग गए थे, तो वहाँ पे इनको 9 डेज लगा. टोटल इनको 80 डेज लगते हैं हर जगह ट्रैवल करने में. बट एंड ये जो अब इनकी जो पेट होती है, जो रिफॉर्म क्लब में लगी हुई होती है, फैलिस के जो फ्रेंड्स के साथ लगी हुई होती है, वो पेट जो होती है वो जीत लेता है, वो उसको विन कर लेता है. दे वॉन द पेट. ठीक है, और वो उसको दे गेट ही गेट 20,000 यूरो जो होते हैं वो उससे लेता है उससे. ठीक है, ये पूरी एक स्टोरी थी. स्टोरी के अंदर किस तरह उन्होंने ट्रैवल किया. फिर जब वो लोग इंडिया में जाते तो वहाँ पे एक फीमेल होती है उधा, उसको उसके हस्बैंड की डेथ हो जाती है. तो वहाँ पे उनका एक प्रोफेशन होता है कि वो लोग जो है जब बहुत पहले की बात है, तो क्या होता है कि वहाँ पे वो लोग जब हस्बैंड की डेथ होती है तो वो फीमेल को भी सती कर देते हैं, जला देते हैं जिंदा कोई, तो उसको वहाँ से बचाता है, वहाँ से उसको लेके वो उसको मूव कर लेता है वहाँ से। जब वो लोग ट्रैवल कर रहे होते हैं तो उसको भी अपने साथ ले जाते हैं, तो वो भी उनके साथ ही हर जगह मूव कर रही होती है। एंड में जब वो लोग पहुँचते हैं अपनी लंदन में पहुँचते हैं, तो क्या वो सोचता है कि मैं एक दिन लेट हो गया हूँ, लेकिन उनको उनकी जो उनसे एक डे जो होता है, एक डेट जो होती है वो मिस हो गई होती है। तो वो जब वो लोग देखते हैं तो वो कहते हैं वो लोग एक दिन पहले ही अपनी डेडलाइन से एक दिन पहले ही पहुंच गए होते हैं और वो पेट जीत जाते हैं। तो देन स्टूडेंट्स टेल मी, डू यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन अबाउट दिस?
No, miss.
No, miss.
Everything is clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay students, so today's session is over, so Allah Hafiz.
Yes.
Yes.